Barry Thomas. Edwards to Barry John. Hall. John Dawes. Again Williams in the line. He's over the 25. Into John Taylor. What a magnificent move!
G'day everyone and welcome to Inside Rugby with Mark. My name is Mark. I'm a Kiwi rugby fan living here in beautiful Cancun in Mexico. In today's video I'm going to be talking about that game coming up on Saturday in the 2024 Six Nations last round competition between Wales and Italy, going to be played at the Principality Stadium in Cardiff. It's going to be a cracking game for all kinds of reasons. So let's get into it and have a chat about it. Now, the first thing I love doing is looking at statistics about the head-to-head of these two teams. And as you will see in this graphic here, over the last 5 games, Wales have won 4, Italy 1. And the interesting fact here is the average points scored in each of those games. Wales 36 and Italy only 13. But we all know going into this weekend that things could be a lot tighter than that. Now, of course, going into this last weekend's round, we don't know what's going to happen in this particular game between Wales and Italy. Italy last weekend, a fantastic win against Scotland, and Wales capitulating in the last 20 minutes against France. So Warren Gatland's team will be wanting to turn this one around and giving their fans at home a good feeling as they try to win this last game of this year's Six Nations competition. For Italy, Quesado Gonzalo's been doing a great job. I think with this Italian team there's definitely glimpses there of them becoming a lot more competitive, and I think that win against Scotland is going to give them a huge amount of self-belief going into this game in the weekend against Wales. So let's have a look at the two teams that have been selected for this game. We'll start off with Italy, the visitors to the Principality Stadium this weekend, and we'll start off having a look at their forwards. Now, one of the things that Gonzalo Quesada has been able to do so far throughout this competition is to find out what his best team is that he thinks is and start rewarding them for good games played. So that's what we see this weekend. Starting off in the front row, we see Nicotera in there again at hooker. We see Fischetti and we see Ferrari in there in the props. So a good front row for Italy. Will they be able to do the job against Wales? We'll have to wait and see. Moving on into the locking positions, we've got Canoni and we've got Ruza. Both played well last time out. I think Ruza's got his discipline under control. It's going to be a very important factor in this game against Wales, that's for sure. So a very good back three for Italy in the forwards. Starting this weekend, we've got Lamaro, Negri in the flanks, and we've got Canoni at number 8. So I really like these back three. Expect Lamaro to have another great game. He's a very, very good player, and he's been winning a lot of breakdown ball for Italy so far in this competition. Expect that to carry on. Negri, of course, we know his pedigree, we know how good he is, and I think he's starting to get back to playing the best rugby he can. I'm sure by having that win against Scotland last week, it really helped out this Italian forward pack as well. So that's the starting 8 for Italy. A great pack, I think, to start off this game. They'll want to get early dominance against Wales. So having a look at the reserve forwards that Gonzalo Quesada is going with within this game, and I think it's a very good set of reserves. He's starting off with Lucreci, Spagnolo, Zulocchi, Zambonin, Vincent and Zuelani. So I think really good forwards to bring on, some big boys in there, and he's going to expect them to do some damage against this Welsh team as they get tired in the second half. Now let's have a look at the backs for the Italians this weekend, and starting off at halfback, and they've gone with Varney, and I think that's probably the best option so far for Italy. I think Varney's been good in terms of being able to distribute the ball at pace, and that's what this Italian team needs to do. Outside him we've got Garbisi, and I've said in all of my videos what I think of this guy. Let's give him another chance. Let's see how good he is off the tee this weekend. Let's hope he doesn't miss a crucial penalty for Italy. So outside Garbisi, we've got the two centres that we've seen on a number of occasions now, Menoncello and Brex, both been doing a very, very good job. And I've been impressed with Brex. I think he's getting better as a player, both on offence and defence, and Menoncello as well. So expect them to have a big game this weekend. Moving out to the outsides now, we've got on one wing Ioane, and probably haven't seen the best of him in the last couple of games. He just hasn't been getting a lot of ball, although he is the kind of winger that goes looking for the ball, and I expect to see him doing that again this weekend. On the other wing, we've got young Liner, who scored that great try last weekend against Scotland. That would have given him a lot of belief, and expect him to have another good game as well. And then in the back at fullback, we've got Pani coming in again. And of course, with Tommaso Allen missing from this Italian team, taking some time off for his mental health. It's good to see Pani back in, being giving another go. So I think this is a good Italian team. So that's the starting back line for Italy, and Quesada's gone with a bench of 2 reserve backs, and they are going to be Paige Riello and Marin. And interesting there that Paige Riello is starting on the bench in this game. I guess he wants to play an open game. We'll see how Varney goes. But I thought Paige Riello played very well last weekend against Scotland. So that's the Italian team, including their reserves for this weekend. I think it's a pretty solid bunch of blokes, and I think they're going to do a good job against Wales. Now moving on to Wales and their selection for this weekend. Warren Gatland, a lot of questions being asked over whether he got it right last weekend or not. But let's focus on what we have in front of him. Starting off in the forwards in the front row, Thomas, D and Lewis for Wales this weekend. An interesting front row. Are they going to have it over Italy? I think it's going to be a big battle in the front rows, and I'm not too sure which way it's going to go. Let's wait and see on that one. Then in the locks, we've got Jenkins and we've got Baird for Wales, and this is going to be an area where Wales expect to win some good set piece ball. Jenkins and Baird both been playing pretty well indeed in this competition so far. Moving on to the back 3 for Wales in the forwards, and we've got Mann, Raphael and Wainwright. A good back 3 for Wales. They're going to have to work really hard, because I think this game could be won and lost around the breakdown area, and it's going to be interesting to see how those 3 guys go. They've each played very good games in the Six Nations competition. They need to put it together on the same day, and I think this Wales team would then go close to doing very well against Italy. So that's the starting 8 for Wales in this game. Now let's have a look at their bench, and it's an interesting bench here that Warren Gatland's gone for. First of all, he's gone for a 5-3 split in his reserves this weekend, so 5 forwards, 3 backs, and their forwards are pretty interesting. Starting off with Lloyd, then we've got Matthias, O'Connor, Rowlands and Martin. So going to be interesting to see whether these guys can do the job, because having 3 backs means that Warren Gatland's trying to protect the chance that he might have to chase the game in the second half and score some points, and that's why he's probably gone with a 5-3 split this weekend. Let me know what you think of the Welsh forwards in this game. Is there anybody missing from that lineup that you think should be in there? Okay, moving on to the Welsh backline, and the starting backs for this game include at halfback Thomas Williams. So good to see him back there, and should never have been taken off last weekend as far as I'm concerned. Outside him we've got Sam Costello, of course, and I think he played better than Lloyd last weekend, so he deserves to be there for sure. And then we've got the old centre pairing coming back, Tompkins and North for this game. As we know, George North has announced his retirement from international rugby after this weekend. He's going to go to France next year and play domestic rugby over there, but for his international career he's pretty emotional about giving it up at this stage. Probably a hard conversation he had with Warren Gatland, saying that the future building up to the next Rugby World Cup doesn't include him in the plan. So always a hard one to see a good player or a great player like George North stepping away from international commitments. He's the 3rd most capped player of all time for Wales, and deserves a great send-off at the Principality Stadium this weekend. I'm sure he will get that. So outside of those 2 centres, we see Adams and Dyer on the wing again, and we see Winnett at fullback. So going with the back 3 that we've been used to. I think Dyer had a really good game last weekend. Be wanting to see more of Adams this weekend against Italy. He's going to have to be in the play a lot more, I think. And also Cameron Winnett, from an attacking point of view, saw a lot of him in the defensive side of things last weekend. So that's Wales' run-on backline for this weekend. Let me know what you think of that one in the comments. Okay, moving on to the Welsh reserve backs for this game. There's 3 of them. There's Hardy, there's Ioan Lloyd and there's Grady. So Grady's done all his speeding on the highways of Wales, and now it's time for him to get out there and do a bit of speeding in the Welsh backline and see if he can score a try or 2 for Wales when he comes on. So that's the backline and the reserves for Wales. Let me know what you think of the team overall for Wales this weekend. Has Warren Gatland got it right in your opinion or not? Okay, so what's my prediction for this game? Well, first of all, it's been a really interesting tournament so far for both teams, and I think they're on a different trajectory than each other. If we look at Wales first of all, in their first 2 games against Scotland, and then that second game against England, they did pretty well. They were in those games. They had a chance of potentially winning both of those. And then against Ireland and France, they fell away and they got really thumped in the back end of those games. So this Welsh team, to me, has proven that they haven't been able to play a solid 80 minutes of rugby yet in those last two games in particular. I'm sure Warren Gatland's going to be focused that this team turns up for the whole 80 minutes against Italy. I think that's going to be very, very important. On the flip side, Italy's trajectory through this tournament has been ramping up. They've been getting better and better in different phases week on week. They were very unlucky against France, and then they had that magnificent win against Scotland. Could they go to the next level and beat Wales as well at home in the last game? I think they can, but it's going to be a very, very close game. And I'm going to call it now. I think this game is going to come down to the Italians' defence and their ability to get enough board to keep Wales out, and that's going to be the key to this game. I think if we start seeing the Italian defence start leaking some points, particularly tries against this Welsh team, it's going to be very hard for them to win. There's no doubt they've got a lot of passion, they've got momentum at the moment, and they've got a lot of self-belief, but it's the defensive system that's either going to keep them in this game or lose this game for them. The second part of the game is going to be possession. And I think if these Welsh forwards go well at the breakdown, we're going to see Mann, Wainwright and Raphael really going for it to give it to these Italians, but they're going to be up against Negri and Lamaro and Canoni, so that's going to be a right royal battle when it comes to the breakdown. And I think whoever wins that is also going to be on the front foot in this particular game. So if the Italian defence doesn't live up to its standard for 80 minutes, I see Wales getting home in this game. I see it being quite a high scoring game as well, but I think Wales will get home by 4 or 5 points in this game. Italy showed last week against Scotland that their defence was up to it right up to the last minute, and if they're able to put another performance out like that this weekend and get enough ball to score points against this Welsh team, then they're definitely in with a chance. So I could see it going to the side of Italy by 3 or 4 points as well. That's going to be the margin in this game, I believe. I don't think it's going to be a blowout unless Wales gets through the Italian defence early in the first 20 minutes of this game and starts to break them down. If we see them running the ball wide and we see George North and Tompkins and Dyer and Adams and Winnett getting into the game early, then Wales could actually run away with quite a big score in this game. If we don't see that and we see Italy controlling different phases of the first 25 or 30 minutes, then they're going to be into this game. And as we've seen in previous games so far in this year's competition, if Italy get to half time and they've got a bit of a sniff of the game, then they can be a very, very dangerous team. I think Italy have had a very good Six Nations campaign so far under Quesada. I think if they win this game in Wales on Saturday, then they've had a great Six Nations competition in 2024, and they can really kick on looking at going up in the world rankings. And we probably also, I think the pressure is building on Warren Gatland to get a win with this team. It's all very well to say that they're in a rebuilding phase and they're going through all these new combinations. Don't forget, Italy are doing the same thing. They had a win last weekend against Scotland, so they're ahead of Wales, obviously, and I think Warren Gatland needs to get a W next to his name this weekend. But also on top of the win, I think they need to show a little bit of panache and ability to do it in a constructive manner. And what I mean by that is not just scraping home with a penalty kick or something in the last minute to win the game. I think Wales needs to show a little bit of dominance and potential in this particular game. We've seen them in their first two games go close, and if those couple of things in those games had gone differently, they could have won those games. But we're going to need to see them start off right at the very beginning of this game and have some dominance against Italy and be able to finish it off after 80 minutes. Now we've got 3 games on Saturday this weekend to finish up the Six Nations for 2024. I'm going to be doing reviews of all of those games afterwards with an in-depth analysis, looking at what players stood out to me, the strategies that the coaches used, and how the game unwound throughout the 80 minutes. So if that interests you and you want to stick around to this channel and start to be part of this Inside Rugby global community we're building here, why not hit that subscribe button? It doesn't cost you anything, that's for sure. And if you like my content, giving a little bit of a thumbs up helps me as well, and I'm very, very grateful for that. Now don't forget to check out my other preview videos for this weekend's games. Of course, we've got France against England, and we've got the cracker one in Dublin between Ireland and Scotland as well. So find out the teams that are going to be playing in those games along with my prediction for each of those games in my other videos. Now I'll see you again after the games this weekend, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Until then, stay safe, stay well everyone, enjoy your rugby this weekend, and it's time to say adios from beautiful Mexico. Bye for now.
Delmy Thomas, Edwards to Barry John, Hall, John Dawes, again Williams in the line.